All right, when all this data is updated from the Discord, first thing you want to do is go to the Data 2 tab. You want to make sure that this is zeroed out. If it's not zeroed out, or there's any kind of errors, is out of balance, then the odds are that the host either has more than 5 entries in one column, or they have over 15. So basically, like Blove, she can only have 5 in this column, 5 in this column, 5 in this column. Otherwise, it's going to show up as an error. Like for instance, I am going to do Shoeman here, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of entries so you can see what it looks like. So now when I go back to the Data 2, it's going to take a little bit to load, but this should all crash. I might have to pause it while it loads. It takes forever when it's... Well, actually, that error there is just going to go to the reference error, which means that because there's more than 5, that it can't fill more than these 5 slots. But I thought it used to error this out too. But it might error that out if I put totals in there. Because I was thinking something errors that out. I'm just going to put a bunch of hundreds in here. 1,000. Let me see if that errors it. Okay, but see, when the thing is, it throws it out of balance. So if this is other than zeros balance, something's wrong. So see, everything's going to balance. So why this is out of balance is because these totals, which should be in these spaces here, aren't calculating. So this says that we're off 1,700. So if you look back here, I'm obviously did 1,700. 1,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's the 1,700. So that always tells you that there's an error. So we're just going to reset that back. Okay, now if everything balances, the things that we have to do to record the data is we always want to make sure we're starting at me, Shoeman. We are just going to copy these down to the bottom. Copy it. And then we're going to go to the host tab. And I'm going to go into the first column there, special, paste special, and then value only. And then that's going to update all these data. Next thing we have to do is go to the drop sort. Make sure this is sorted. Oh, shit. I fucked that up. That wasn't supposed to be value only. That is supposed to go A to Z. And then we get a screenshot of this so that if anyone's got any discrepancies, it's posted in the trade group. Trying to make this go fast here. So I just put that in the drops. Preferably, I'd like to try to get this done late at night or really early in the morning so that people got a chance to see the discrepancy, because it's a pain in the ass to fix after we do this. Next thing I do is make sure we're starting at line 3 above this divider, because if you move up and down, you're missing things. So we're just going to copy everything that's on there. Copy, and then we're going to hit the backup data tab here, which will be where all the data is saved. This section here is automatically updated because it's mirrored, so the 9th just popped up. So we're just going to go to February. Then we page down to the next line. So we're going to start in that first cell, and then I just do another special paste with value. We want to do a special paste because we don't want to bring the coding, we want to bring just the data. And that puts that data here. I closed all the middle things to try to keep the congestion down. I actually should probably save some speed and close some of these cells that we don't need. Right, so that's done, and then we go back to here. So basically that's all we have to do, is just copy this data, copy this data, as long as everything balances. And then the last thing we do is we go back to this here. I usually go under the last one that was recorded. I just highlight these cells. I give the crossbar here, and I just pull it up to here and just let it go, and it just resets everything. When I'm still learning script coding, once I can learn the script coding, there's going to be an undo button here, or a delete button, and I should delete those, but right now I don't know how to do that, so that's just a manual trick I got to do. Now the next thing we got to do is how to get this from today to tomorrow. This is one thing we have to watch for. We're going to go to the trade group. No, not the trade group. We're going to go to the, should be data 2. Yeah, it will be on the data 2 where we get that data. So we should have an error right here. And the reason why I get this in an error is so that this data stays put while we replace, while we reset the other one. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to go B to E. We don't want to delete this cell because this cell is the coding. So we just want to go B to E, just hit delete. Now this should reset now, and it's going to code today's schedule because it's already logged into my agency. So when this updates, the schedule will pop up. I'm going to pause it because it's going to take a while recording. Alright, so sometimes Google PMSs, so in this case it's hung up. Just do the cell where the coding is. We're going to delete it. And then we're just going to hit the undo button to bring it back. So now it should say loading. And I'm going to pause it again while it loads the schedule, which should be today's. Okay, so once the coding pops up for this, then what we want to do is we want to turn this back to an error, because anything I adjust on the agency is going to update this automatically. We don't want this to update anymore. And then we have these errors here. I'm going to show you what we got to do to fix these. But we have to do the schedule first. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight B to E. We're going to copy it. And this is the part that I miss most of the time because I'll get a phone call, or I'll have to message a host, or I get sidetracked and I do something else. And this part doesn't get finished. And that's what's been causing all the problems getting the data. So if management through the day, like in the afternoon, if there's no reference error here, just say, hey, Shuu, it's not locked. Because basically I want to lock it. Because we're copying all this data. It's going to take a while because this is these few columns is all of Bigo's schedule. I'm going to pause this while that copy is done. So once it gets copies, you can give it a few seconds. Then basically we want to copy the same A to E again, or we just basically want to go to the B1. We want to do a special paste and then value only. So what this is this is copying all that data permanently, and then the special paste is pasting it on top of here, which should cause this coding not to work because there's data in these cells, so it's going to cause an error. But we want that error because that means that this is permanently copied. So we want to force this to an error. So that means if I change anything on the agency schedule or I delete anything on the agency schedule, it will not affect the trade group. This data will stay the same. But see, like right now, it turns to a reference. It says it can't load because there's data in B1. That's because of this data, so we want this to do that. So once that's done, everything is permanent. Then we can go to the TG sort. We can highlight this column, sort it A to Z. The trade group's only done by 1 day, so we don't have to do the date. We just need to do the blah, blah, blah. Now, this part is important. I'll show you the error which causes first. Basically, anytime there's errors on my sheet, it's actually, I don't know why her data is in here unless somebody just did it this morning. But I'll look into that. but it's not showing the error I want it to do. But the first row, it has to have a 0 in the columns. For some reason, it will cause an error. So there has to be zeros in this first column. Just that one. Now let me see if I can find this. So this here needs to be reset. I don't know if someone just added that this morning or I missed it. Yeah, I probably, no, because here's another one too. So it's always a good way to go back to the data and make sure, you know, there shouldn't be any data on here when we start it. Somehow I missed those two. Shit, there's a crazy one that's missed. Until I can figure out how to do that coding to reset all these automatically. I think that one's old data because Google Sheets is PMSing. Yeah, because I don't see nothing in here for Jacob. So that should go away. That would be in the receive, so it'd be over in this column. See, right here is where the issue is. So this could just be hung up. This is the first time I actually seen a problem with this. So I'm just going to delete that out. Because this all gets coded from this column here. Usually the ones that are coded I make red, which I probably need to do. But for some reason that 2000 was hung up, and then that fixes all this. So we always want to make sure we're starting back on 0 across the board. That would have probably stumped me the next day and then, until I found it, but it's usually something simple like that. But I've never seen it do that before. It could have done that because I'm recording and it's sucking up all the RAM. But other than that, that's basically it. It seems like a lot, but it's really not a lot. But like I said, the most important thing is on the data 2, if towards the afternoon there's no reference error here, just message me. Because like I said, when I reset this, sometimes I get sidetracked and it doesn't get finished and it doesn't cause an error. And I want that error because that means when I delete the agency schedule, this will stay here regardless because this data is on here permanently until we delete it. So tomorrow morning, all we're going to do is delete after all the data is done. All we got to do is highlight these and delete it. And then this box will automatically pull up the 11th schedule. And then we do the same thing. We lock it down. So that seems to be the easiest way to do this so that we don't have to paste the whole schedule every day. Let me know if you got any questions or I just confused the fuck out of you, because I seem to confuse the fuck out of everybody.